leaving with another live feed, last live feed of the day. It's gonna be about interesting live feed about a video game that featured Dr. J, Julius Irvin, and Larry Bird. Actually, he was part of I think maybe the first video game ever featuring like basketball. But let's get into it, man. This is something that was different, a groundbreaker, a trailblazing situation. When you look at this video game between Larry Bird and Dr. J, it's called One on One, Dr. J versus Larry Bird. It was a groundbreaking 1983 basketball video game by Electronic Arts that let players compete as NBA legends Julius Dr. J. Irvin and Larry Bird, featuring unique player styles, dunks for Dr. J, shooting for Bird, mechanics like steals, blocks, and backboard shattering. It was a major success and established, EA, Electronic Arts, as a sports game powerhouse, and it paved the way for future titles like John Madden, and FIFA, FIFA. So the game was ported to many, platforms like Apple's 2, Commodore 64, Atari. It was later updated to include Michael Jordan. So this is the first time ever, before Madden, you had, a video game this caliber from a sports perspective that featured players' likeness. For the first time, players could control actual professional athletes with their abilities reflecting the real players. You had a gameplay, you had a one-on-one half court with options for time and score-based matches, difficulty levels like Park and Rec into Pro, possession rules, winners and losers out. Then you had mechanics like steals, blocks, charging fouls, um, shot clock violations, and instant replays. Then you had the signature moves. Obviously, Dr. J was known for dunks, while Bird excelled at jump shots, backboard shattering. You had a memorable feature where a powerful dunk could break the backboard, leading to a maintenance worker's appearance. Also, its success proved the viability of sports video games and licensed athletes, leading to EA's dominance in the genre. So it all started with this basketball game back in 1983. One on one, Dr. J versus Larry Bird. It all started with this. And this video game was written by Eric Hammond for the Apple II and was published again in 1983 for EA Sports. It was ported to Atari 8-bit computers, ColecoVision, Commodore 64, IBM PC compatibles, a self-booting disk version followed for the TRS-80 color computer, classic Mac OS, Omega, ZX Spectrum, York. The publisher was Ariel Soft, Atari Corporation, listed a port called Atari 7800 in 1987. It had personal fouls, 24-second shot clock, jumpers, fadeaways, you know, putbacks. It was like the first instant replay in a sports video game. The March 1983 non-sports arcade game, Food Fight, also has instant replay. We had, I don't know if a player could spin or shoot on defense, attempt to block or steal the ball, and with over aggressiveness, penalized by fouls. A hard dunk, but can shower the backboard, prompting janitor to come out and sweep up the shards and directing extensive complaints of the player in the process. Scott Jumper's Maple Leaf Rag is the title screen soundtrack. The game was developed by Trip Hawkins, who was unsuccessfully attempting to develop a video game based on American football, an effort which eventually led to the creation of Madden NFL series. Wins by a televised one-on-one basketball tournament he remember watching when he was younger. Hawkins decided to create a game based on the concept, so he signed Julius Irvin, his favorite basketball player at the time. Julius Irvin went to Electronic Arts headquarters for principal photography and to offer advice to developers. So Bird and Irvin were each paid $25,000 to appear in the game, along with 2.5% royalty. In addition, Irvin received some stock Electronic Arts. So the game's simpler half-court setup allowed the team to focus on adding more realism, more accurate physics and animations, and a playing feature that would have made Bird and Irvin play more similar to their real-life counterparts than make the final game. The cover photograph for the game's record-style package was taken while Irvin and Bird were visiting Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. The crowd sounds heard in their manga version was recorded by Hawkins and producer Joe Ybarra at a Golden State Warriors game. The reception of the one-on-one video game was successful. It helped EA avoid financial difficulty, increasing sales familiarity with the company. In 1984, Saint Games readers named the game the 8th most popular Apple program of 1983. It was also awarded Electronic Game of the Year by the 1985 Archie Awards, presented by Electronic Games Magazine. One-on-One was also Electronic Arts' best-selling game and second best-selling Commodore 64 game as of 1987, late 1987, so it was certified SBA Platinum. That means it was 250,000 copies that were sold by November 1989. And after it sold 400,000 copies by late 1988, became the highest-selling sports game ever for computers. But InfoWorld in 1984 called One-on-One perhaps the most talked about sports game of the new year. The magazine praised its portrayal of the two players' individual styles, backboard shattering, crowd noise, instant replay, including that One-on-One delivers the goods, a realistic simulation of a lively sports matchup. An InfoWorld's essential guide to Atari computers recommended the game to born competitors. Computer Game Award 1984 called One-on-One incredibly realistic and predicted that it would be one of the year's best sports games. The magazine cited that absolutely fantastic graphics, simple controls, instant replay as positives, only criticizing the lack of clarity of the ball possession on the basket and lack of overtime. Saint Game said that this is the game's sports game of 1984, knowing that the realistic feel of the two games players' playing styles, while knowing the inability to stop drilling to fake out the other players. The magazine concluded that the highly addictive, thrilling, sometimes frustrating, always involving ways to describe One-on-One. It's a winner. Ahoy in 1986 called the Commodore 64 version a must-have, praising its graphics and gameplay. Compute in 1986 approved of the Amiga version, improved graphics, sound, but noted that the gameplay was the same as the 8-bit computers, saying that this was a testament to careful research, clever programming of the original version. So the legacy of One-on-One is that it had helped publish Electronic Arts as a successful developer and publisher. It also foreshadowed how important sports titles would be to the company's future. EA Sports would later be spun off into its own division. The sequel, Jordan vs. Bird, was published in 1988 with improved graphics. Michael Jordan taking Dr. J's place, a slam dunk contest with Jordan, a three-point shootout with Bird. So this was a trailblazing of a video game, man, back in 1983. Interesting. That's it for that. Look at the Larry Bird, Dr. J video game from 1983. A trailblazing video game. Be back tomorrow for more interviews. Got a lot going on tomorrow for his live streaming. Just like, subscribe to the channel. Appreciate it. And be back tomorrow for new content that's coming. Looking forward to it. 2 interviews. Glenn Contreras, former NFL player, at 5 o'clock, and my Hurricane player, Kelvin Harris. He was on my show when I was a radio host. That coming up at 7 o'clock. I'm not going to do anything else. I'll see. Those are 2 live streaming that's going to be available tomorrow. So until then, stay in tune for tomorrow.